Good morning, everybody. It's Jeff Goldberg for the Sales Pro Network. It is Friday, June 23rd, 2023. I'm broadcasting live from, where am I? I was about to say the East Coast of the United States, which is true. I'm broadcasting from Long Island, New York. I'm a sales coach and trainer. I help individuals and organizations get measurable and sustainable sales increases. And I founded the Sales Pro Network as a place to elevate the profession of sales and as a place where salespeople can come and network with each other, hang out, ask questions, get advice and coaching from terrific experts like myself and many, many others. And if you've been with us at all for a while, you know that every Friday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern, I either do a live training or a live interview with somebody who can add value to the profession of sales. And once again, today is no exception, my friends. If you're watching us live, please say hello in the comments. If you're watching us live on Facebook and have not connected your account to StreamYard, it's just going to say Facebook user. So if you have any questions for our guest or you want to say hello, please put your name in there too. And finally, if you're watching us on the replay, please put replay in the comments. And with that, it's my pleasure to introduce my friend and our guest today, Adam Holtzer, the co-founder of Whoggga. Good morning, Adam.
Good morning, Jeff. Dude, you're so good at that.
I've done it once or twice. Good morning, John Hill. I'm glad that you're able to join us today. Also, Bruce Caseman, always a pleasure to see you, my friend. So, Adam, to get started, could you maybe give us the 2 to 3 minute version of your background? We'll get to Whoggga in a minute and what you're doing these days, but what brought you up to this point?
Sure. So I'm 36 years old. I grew up in the Dix Hills, Comac area. I bought a house 3/4 of a mile from where I grew up, where my parents still currently live. My background is just growing up locally. I wanted my kids to actually go to the same schools that I went to, hence why we bought the house where we bought it. I have 2 kids. My daughter Molly is 5.5 and my son Jackson is 2.5. We just celebrated Molly's culmination of universal pre-K graduation yesterday. And then my wife Lara and I, we've been married going on 7 years. And it's a little bit of background about myself. I'm very passionate about bonfires. I have a tremendous bonfire pit in my backyard. I love bringing people together. Big music guy, just like hanging out, chilling, keeping it easy, as you know.
How about your business background? I mean, before Whoggga, what were you doing before that? You didn't just pop out of the womb and get married and have kids.
So when I was 25, 26-ish, I was very fortunate to work with a venture capitalist that kind of introduced me to the world of business and just business development, working with entrepreneurs and business owners. When I was 29, turning 30, I worked with a marketing firm locally on Long Island called Generations Beyond under the leadership of Jesse Wroblewski. Had a really great 3-year stint working there with him. And that brought me to develop my consulting business called Connections for Hire, where I wanted to work with business owners on a fractional business development standpoint, working with them on their strategy, their execution, their networking, their relationship development. And then fast forward to a year later, launched Whoggga.
Got it. And am I correct? Connections for Hire was really all about helping people make more connections and get more, we'll call them leads or opportunities. Yes?
Yeah, the concept of Connections for Hire was helping business owners that did not have a business development team to work with them on opening doors, making relationships, helping them develop and build the rapport of the relationships to, build trust and credibility, and then that enhancing the opportunities for business to come from it.
Love that. And by the way, you already have a fan. Adam Holtzer is a phenomenal leader and more importantly, a very good person. I don't know if that was your wife or not, but somebody loves you.
Maybe Michael North. I know he had this on his calendar.
Got it. Well, Mike, if that was you, please put your name into the comments so that we know it was you. So, Adam, we're going to get to what you're doing these days in terms of disrupting the networking world. But I think a good place to start would be, how do you find traditional networking?
So, what I wish networking was, separate from traditional, is networking to me was always building relationships with people that can add value, mutually beneficial. I actually sent you a text message screenshot earlier today because my definition of what networking should be is being around like-minded people to collaborate, to open up, to share, to talk about ways to help your clients, your business. And what unfortunately I feel traditional networking has turned into has been very elevator pitchy, transactional, of handing out cards without even introducing yourself with a handshake first, going to diners at 7 a.m. to give an elevator pitch, to literally, the expectation of passing around leads and referrals. And, that's very important, but I don't think that that's what networking really was. And if you look at, organizations like a BNI or LaTip, their expectations and foundations are set up on referral business, not necessarily relationship building, which is what networking was supposed to be, relationship development.
By the way, it was your friend of mine, Michael North, who loves you that much. And he said,
Yeah, Michael North.
Good to see you, Mr. North. Thank you for joining us today. So, well, isn't networking really about business development? How do we help each other? How do we make introductions for each other? I mean, there's certainly more to it as far as I'm concerned. You and I know each other. Full disclosure, everybody, Adam and I know each other a long time. We're both Long Island guys, and we're both active in the Long Island business area. But I've been in a networking organization for 18 years, and certainly I get way more out of it than just referrals. But the real reason I am there is because 40% of my business comes from being a member of that group and doing what I think you're really talking about, which is not just showing up and giving your elevator pitch, but really getting to know the people in there so I can trust them, and hopefully they trust me so that I refer them and they refer me. You're saying there's more to it than that?
I think that the community that you choose that works for you, or the organization that works for you, what you're looking to get out of it. My business partner, Greg Pajak, says, start with the end in mind. If your end in mind is to work on building your business, where you want to have a strong foundation, your systems, your processes, your operations, your workflows, you have to be part of a community or an organization that's going to benefit and add value to that end in mind. We have in Whoggga, we have something called a networking cocktail. So Whoggga is an alternative to networking. We have plenty of our members that are in, they're presidents of their BNI, they're LaTips, they're in all other organizations, they're in ABA, they're in this, they're in that. We encourage our members to be in whatever works for them as a cocktail. If you think about the term cocktail, it needs to be a combination of flavors that fit your desired need, not just your taste buds, but the buzz you want, or, what you're looking to get out of it. So if there's aspects of your networking cocktail that aren't complementing the flavor, more so complicating it, then you got to kind of realign what's going on. So to answer your question, Jeff, I think that what you've found for 18 years has been a great addition and complementary cocktail for your networking. And as long as what your end in mind is working for you, rock and roll, man.
Good. We're going to get to the difference between traditional networking and what you've been doing with Whoggga in a minute. But first, good morning, Don Levine, our executive recruiter. Good morning, Ray Aurora. Good to see you, my friend. Larry Weiss, the phone guy. Good to see you. And we've got a user. This perhaps is Mr. North again, saying, I think that networking should be symbiotic. You give someone who you want to work with, who can fit into your sales funnel. Oh, no, it's Bruce Caseman, sorry. And that person has to be able to help you build your business. That's what Bruce says. I certainly have an opinion on that. Would you like to comment on that?
Me?
Yeah.
I say relationships before business. Once again, it goes back to what you're looking to achieve. So Bruce said, you give someone who you want to work with. Yeah, I think giving someone a chance, it starts with a chance. You have to be interested in the other person. And if I'm going to build a relationship with someone, I would hope that they would want to build a relationship with me back.
Yeah, I think the point I like to make here for Bruce and anybody else who feels this way is I have a slightly different take on it. If I'm reading this correctly, Bruce, and I could be reading into it, this seems like I help you, you fit into my sales funnel, so I might be able to sell you something, and you might be able to sell me something too. To me, networking is absolutely 100% not about selling each other. And I can see, by the way, Adam shaking his head, he agrees. I'm going to let him speak in a second, but it's really about extending your reach. The people in the group that I've been in for so long are my extended sales force. I mean, they're friends and family to me now, but they're really my extended sales force. When I'm out talking to clients and prospects, I'm certainly not sitting there every moment thinking about, how can I introduce my networking partners to this person? But I am listening for clues. The things that they say will often prompt me to go, oh, you've got to meet my friend Doug Rowe. He's an employment attorney. You've got problems with employees who are suing you. Or you've got to meet Mitch Tobel. He's the greatest marketing guy I've ever met because you need some help with marketing. So to me, it's really about how can we make introductions for each other that can turn into business, as well as, getting business intelligence in the local community and, a family and all those things. But if you're just trying to network, to sell to the people in your network, I personally think you're making a big mistake. Adam, I think you have some comments on that.
Well, I was actually having this conversation with one of our members yesterday, and I said, the whole concept of building this sense of community in Whoggga is to have those, the octopus arms, but to have people that know you, that can recommend you to their friends, their clients, introduce you to their circles. When you just try to do business directly within your own circle, you're not only limiting yourself, but you're also putting an unrealistic expectation that those are going to be your clientele. And if they don't become your clientele, now you're going to leave. And to a point that you just made, Jeff, I'm big on loyalty. And I think that you need to find the right people around you that are going to build that loyalty with you. Because if you're just kind of going after whatever business you're getting, trying to sell, there's no consistency from the relationship standpoint.
Got it. And Tony Volpe says, great minds think alike. You are the company you keep. Bruce again says, I don't think that BNI is a fit. By the way, we've got nothing against BNI. If you're a BNI member, okay by me. I've spoken at a lot of BNI groups. He says it's a popularity contest. Also, there are defined seats. I'm not sure what you mean by defined seats, but if you mean it's exclusive. So in my group of BNI, I'm not in a BNI, but if I was, there would be no other sales coaches or sales trainers, no other insurance guys. I happen to like that. I like the exclusivity. And Bruce also says, I get a different take of networking because of the business that I'm in. My business is more B2C. Bruce, I suggest you and I have an offline conversation because I think I can help you increase your networking skills. And if I can't, I know that our guest can. But he says, I don't try to sell within the group. All right, Bruce, you just saved yourself on that one. Michael Norris says, being authentic and paying it forward is the way to win trust and build real relationships where there's somebody who clearly knows you, Adam. You want to talk about that at all?
It's exactly what it says. It's so funny. When you surround yourself with the right people, when you take the time to get to know people, and there's so many different ways to help people. It could be mentorship, it could be marriage, it could be with kids, it could be a great vacation spot that nobody knows of that just works for exactly what you need for some R&R to get away. I think being authentic, being genuine, being yourself, and building a relationship. Jeff, when I had my focus group think tanks, I had 8 of them with 200 business owners back in January of 2020. The common theme amongst them was they didn't really care who they were around and what professions they did. They cared that they were around good, like-minded people that were going to get to know them and build a relationship back with them. So to Mike's point here, the paying it forward is when you just are a good person, it's when you're around the right people and you're a good person, it'll come back around.
Yeah. And what you just said sprung something in my mind. It certainly most of us join a networking organization, no matter new, disruptive, whatever, because we do want more leads for our business. We want introductions. But I found in 18 years, there are certain people in the group that I'm in, and the group I'm in is 35 years old, that I've never been able to give a single referral to. And some have never been able to give a single referral to me. But as a sales coach and trainer, I'm always happy to help them with sales advice. I'm listening for them if they want to run something by me. So it's more than just giving referrals. Absolutely.
I was telling one of my members yesterday that instead of trying to sell directly, and Bruce, I know that you were not saying that you do this, but instead of trying to sell directly to the people around you in your close circle, walk them through your selling experience, like your sales process. Let them experience what it is that if they were to sit down with you and be interested in your services, and they were to ask questions, almost like through the buying process, let someone experience the buying process with you, even if they know that they might never be a potential client or candidate, because if they understand what it's like talking to you and you're in that sales process of the value and what you're delivering, and they understand what that buying looks like, they can be much better referral sources for you, because when they listen and hear for keywords or things like that, remind them of that. Now they understand it, and you weren't selling at them. You were kind of just educating them.
Yeah, I would actually change that just slightly. I happen to know Bruce, and he's a great guy. He's a financial advisor for a wonderful firm. I would say, don't even show them your sales process. Just give them advice. I had in the group that I'm in, we call them opportunity calls. Other groups call them one-on-ones, where you meet with people privately to get to know them so that you can trust them and they can trust you, because only then can you give referrals. And I did this just yesterday with somebody I had never met with before in the group that I'm in. And all I did was, I always start out the same way. Tell me about yourself. Tell me about your life. Tell me about your business. And most importantly, tell me how I can help you. And she shared a little bit about some of the challenges in her business. And it just so happens that as a sales coach and trainer, I can often give good advice to business people. And I just gave her advice. So I actually let her experience what it's like working with me, rather than her experiencing my sales pitch. she got to see what it's like working with me. And as far as I'm concerned, that makes her incredibly well prepared to introduce me to others when if and when the opportunity arises. So because she can say, wow, I've actually gotten coaching from Jeff. You definitely have to meet him. Larry Weiss says, through networking, I've developed affinity relationships with people who sell complementary services to mine, and we have grown so close that we frequently bring each other into our respective projects. I love working with people. I'm constantly looking, and I bet you have advice on this, Adam. I'm constantly looking for people who sell to the same type of customer I do, who sell a completely non-competing product. For example, Michael North, our mutual friend, is a great person for me to know. He recruits salespeople and sales leaders, and I like to work with those kind of people. I'm not selling to, well, I'm selling to VPs of sales, and so is he. So we're selling a non-competing product to the same person so we can refer each other business. I love that. Adam, any thoughts on that?
Larry, that was awesome. Yeah, I think finding those synergies that are complementary to each other. I always tell my consulting clients that you should be building the relationships with the centers of influences that are working with the clientele that you're also trying to work with, because once you have the trust, the credibility, and the endorsement from them, they're already in the door. Yeah, beautiful, Larry.
Yeah, and one of the things that I think is often overlooked, which I know it's not for you, but I'll often make introductions to two people that I've got nothing to do with it. There's no way I'm going to profit from this. It's just, I know that this client or this prospect or this person I know will benefit from meeting some other person. It's got nothing to do with me getting a referral or getting business. But I find that my belief, and I believe we think similarly on this, Adam, what goes around comes around. When you do good in the world, it comes back to you. So I'm just always looking to ADTRT, always do the right thing, which is something I've taught my children from a very young age. I want to flip this a little, and I want to find out more about your organization. So first of all, the name. I love it. And as you know, I love to go Whoggga. But what does Whoggga actually mean? Is it a word, or did you just make up, or what does it mean?
So Whoggga is actually a Scandinavian lifestyle, culture, and philosophy that's been around for a couple of hundred years. The word Whoggga is really spelled Hygge, and it's pronounced Whoggga. And the reason that we spell it this way is it's a lot easier to pronounce and read. But when the word Whoggga means to be cozy, comfortable, to be yourself, to be authentic, to not play any charades, to be around good people. And when my business partner Greg and I were building this concept and we were looking for a name, we were like, wow, this word Whoggga associates so well with what we're looking to innovate in business development and networking. And the reason that we spelled Whoggga this way is the who stands for who are you as a person. So our membership subscriptions, they're month to month. And it's not a company subscription, it's an individual subscription exclusively for business owners. So the who is who are you as a person, your hobbies, your passions, your interests, your family, your vision, your philosophies, like who are you as a person? And then the 3 G's are our membership subscriptions, which are grind, grow, and gratify, because every business owner, every person is in a different stage of their life and their business. You could be 30 years old, but have been in business for 12 years and be in the grow or even almost gratifying stage of your business. Or you could be 60 years old, just starting up as an entrepreneur after working a W-2 job for 30 years. And you're in the grind, you're grinding and you're building that foundation to make it. So Whoggga, that's the philosophy behind the word and a little bit behind the culture. If you ever Googled happiest places in the world to live, you'll always see Denmark, Finland, Norway, a lot of Scandinavian countries, and they attribute their lifestyle happiness to Whoggga.
I thought it was Long Beach where I live, but okay, we'll take it.
Close enough.
Somebody says, hi guys to you too, whoever you might be. So we found out what Whoggga means, but you consider yourself a disruptor in the world of traditional networking. So how is Whoggga different than a traditional networking group like the one I belong to?
Sure. So Whoggga is exclusive to business owners, and it's a community for personal, professional, and social growth. So we're not a transactional community where we, believe it or not, a lot of our members don't even ever have business cards on them. A little under 2 years ago, we built an app for all of our members to engage on. So it's exclusive and private to our members. And through our app, we have all these different spaces that our members all throughout the day, 24/7, 365, can communicate. They can ask for support. They can start a discussion. They can give kudos to each other. They can share their wins. They can talk about synergies, hobbies, or passions that they have. But to go back to your question, what is a little bit different is all of our gatherings are called huddles. And every month we have about anywhere from 14 to 16 different huddles. So the huddles are different experiences to bring our members together as a community. So, for example, we have 3 categories of huddles. We have experiential huddles, where our members will experience something. So, for example, last weekend we went kayaking. The weekend just before that, we did the ropes course in Wheatley Heights, where we climbed high elements and did zip lining and big bonfire. We for experience huddles, we do like wine nights. We'll rent out a winery and we'll do different tastings to let our members experience something together. So that's one category of huddles that we have throughout the month. And then we have other categories called learn. Learn are ways to better your business, working on your operations, your systems, your marketing, your business development, your softwares that you're using. So these learn huddles help our members as business owners learn different things to develop and grow their business in areas of weakness that they might have. And then the third type of huddles we have are called support huddles. And these are huddles where usually anywhere between 8 to 15 of our members will get together. And remember, we have almost 15 plus huddles a month. So that's how these are broken down. But the support huddles are for our members to actually open up about things they need support with, things they need help with. Not all of our members open up and talk. Some of our members get more value from listening, from understanding what other members are going through because they can relate to it. And then they might talk offline about it. Other members, we call ourselves a community of mentors. Whether you're 25 years old and you're a startup business or you're 55 years old, doesn't make a difference. A 25-year-old that, understands TikTok and understands video content and putting this together and setting it up, they can be looked at as a mentor to someone that is in their 40s, 50s, 60s that doesn't know how to do this and is looking for guidance and help in steering with that. So it's a little bit tip of the iceberg.
Yeah. So you're not having like a meeting once a week or once every 2 weeks or once a month. It's real experiences that provide different values at different times. And if I remember correctly, we actually worked together at one of your huddles. Yes.
Yeah. So one of the huddles that we did a few months back, we rented out a paint studio. We invited all of our members are invited to anything and everything on our app. They can RSVP. They can go through all the huddles. We post everything about 3 months in advance. So the huddle that you did was a paint night, comedy night. So our members showed up. They with their spouses, their business partners, a mentor of theirs. And they came. We had all these awesome paint studio areas ready for them to do. It was instructional painting. We had delicious dinner catered, and then so that was from 6 to 8, and then from 8 to 10:30 we hired you with your comedy act, and you brought 5 other comedians that provided a night out. So our members, they got to paint, they got to eat, they got to drink, they got to laugh. And that was on a Friday night. So the value was bringing our community together with their spouses and business partners to just have a fun night out, experience it.
And it was a great night. No, we appreciated you having us there. And I believe it was also your wife's birthday, right?
Yeah, it was my wife's birthday. Yeah,
fun.
It was her birthday party.
Fair enough. So what made you, most traditional networking organizations, anybody can join as long as they're not a real a-hole and they can pay the fee, whatever that might be. But yours is a community exclusively of business owners. Yes.
Yes.
Why business owners?
Because we found that there wasn't a supportive community exclusive to business owners to open up about what they were going through, not just about leads and referrals, more in traditional networking, but they were looking for more of a community to open up about what they were going through in life, what they're going through in business. And Jeff, you're a business owner, so you'll understand this. If your neighbor is, let's say, a teacher, or your neighbor is, works a pension job, or has a different job, whatever it is, if it's 9 to 5, being a business owner is not 9 to 5. It's not Monday to Friday. It's to be a business owner, you have to understand the mindset of a business owner, or vice versa. And that's why we want to make it exclusive to business owners. Just what each other are going through, the people next to you, they get it.
Yeah, but you're particularly passionate about working with business owners. Why is that?
Because they're the underdogs. They need help. They need support. They add so much value to our communities. They add so much value to hiring people locally and just giving back to our economy. I've been a supporter of small businesses for 11 years. It's important to me because I know that they need the help and the support, and the good people deserve good.
And you did something which I found fascinating recently. Just like you, I'm sure I get requests all the time from people. Can you help me with this? Can you help me with that? Can you help me with something else? And if I can, I usually am happy to do something. But you reached out to me with an interesting request that I don't usually get. And your request was, do you know any young people who are entrepreneurs who need some help? I'm not trying to sell them anything. I just want to help them. And even knowing you as I do, I still had a moment where I said, he's got to have something behind. He's got to want to get him into Whoggga, or you want to sell them some program. But you didn't. I mean, what made you do that?
It goes back to what Mike North said earlier about paying it forward. So we're all value adds in our own way. We all add different values, and if you have the horse blinders on, you're only going to add those values. And so a lot of people look up to you, Jeff. A lot of people go to you. You care about people. You can only help people in your own, in so many ways, and you'll always offer that help. But what if there's someone that deserves your help that you can't directly help, but you want to help them or support them? And when you and I spoke that day, the reason I reached out was if I could add value to someone in your Jeff verse, that it would make me happy as well. And who you introduced me to, hard worker, hustler, he landed a phenomenal job. He's but I was able to introduce him to several people that I know that were hiring and that were doing very unique things in software and technology and AI that he would have really enjoyed. So that also selfishly, I was able to add value to other people in my circle because they met. It was Jordan, correct?
No, I forgot. Not Jordan. Oh man, I want to say Justin, but that's not it either.
Oh yeah.
I can't remember names to save my life, and I know that's a strength of yours. But we'll talk about that later. I can see his face. It doesn't matter, but he's a really bright young man. I'll just give the 2-second version. So he's actually the older brother of my son's good friend, and he was introduced to me several years back because he was doing some kind of a project for school and needed to speak to business owners. So I let him interview me, and I was so impressed with him because he's a really smart young kid, goes to a great school. He's got a very entrepreneurial mind. I invited him to the networking organization that I belong to. And when you reached out to me and said, is there a young entrepreneur I can help? He immediately popped into my mind. And of course, as soon as we get off this broadcast, his name will pop in and I'll call you and I'll tell you. Tony Volpe wants to know, are Whoggga members nationwide?
So Whoggga is right now mainly focused on Long Island. We do have members all throughout the country, but that's because they've moved out of state and they did not want to leave Whoggga because they built a sense of community. We launched just about 2 years ago. So we've had members that have moved to Florida, Montana, Carolinas, out west. So thank you for that question, Tony. Right now, Whoggga is not nationwide. If somebody requested we've had 37 different states reach out to us requesting membership, requesting franchising, requesting licensing. Right now, we're at just about 90 members. We only invite in one new member a week. So where we're at right now is our goal is to hit the 100 mark. Our first 50 members was our proof of concept. Will business owners invest in this personally, professionally, socially, their time, their money, their energy? That was the first 50 members. And then the next 50 members, which is where we're almost done with now, is our proof of scalability. So not nationwide yet, Tony. We don't know what the growth pattern looks like because we don't know how many Whooggies are on Long Island.
Perfect. When I'm researching for these interviews, I always go to people's websites and I go to their LinkedIn feeds, and I often find interesting things that I can ask about. And what is your concept of here versus steer? I saw that on your website. What does that mean?
Sure. So this mostly happens in our support huddles where our members need support, and some of them don't want any steering or guidance right then and there. They just want to be heard. They just want to get it out. We've had members break down in our huddles, and remember, everything we do is in person. So it's, the emotional energy is a lot different than a virtual, Zoom or something else. So we've had members open up about things they're going through personally and professionally. And sometimes you don't want any steering at that point. You just want to be heard. And other people are looking for steering. They're looking for some guidance, for some experience sharing, for, hey, I've been through this or I've been there. And in these support huddles we have, the conversations will go a couple of minutes. But if we see that it's going off on a tangent, or if we see that it really needs to be taken offline, we'll suggest that. But that's what hear or steer is some people just want to be heard. They just want to open up and vent about some shit they got going on. Other people, they hey, listen, I don't know what to do, and I'm asking for some steering here. The reason that we have this is unsolicited advice and someone telling you what you should do, or someone telling you we're talking at you, or I would do this. It can kind of come off not so comfortable and cozy, which is what Whoggga is about. So that's why we have here steers. Our members can say, I want to be heard, or I'm looking for steering.
I love that. It's actually right in line with something I either saw on Facebook or TikTok recently about a couple, that not everybody works the same way, and might have been Facebook, I'm not sure, but the piece was really saying, before we have a discussion on anything, when the other spouse comes to the other spouse, we say, do you just want to be heard, or are you looking for advice? Which I think is brilliant, because what you said is absolutely correct. Often we just want to be heard. We don't really want the advice. And if somebody does offer us the advice, it really pushes us away. And sometimes we do want that advice. And if people aren't hearing correctly, listening actively, then they're not going to be able to offer it. So I think clearing it up in advance is a great thing to do in networking and in relationships. Something that I found interesting about Whoggga is you offer a variable pricing structure. Most groups, it's the same fee for everybody. Why is there a variable pricing structure in Whoggga?
So every one of our members are in a different stage of their life and their career. So for example, we have our three main subscriptions are Grind, Grow, and Gratify. We have a subscription for, so I'll go over the prices. I'll keep it very simple, but we have a subscription called Graduate. And that's for a high school or a college graduate that's looking to go into entrepreneurship and wants to surround themselves with a community of entrepreneurs. So the Graduate subscription is $99 a month. We have a subscription just above that called Gravitate. And this is for maybe a W-2 employee that's gravitating towards becoming an entrepreneur. They aren't exactly sure what their business is or what their process is or what they're doing yet, but they want to gravitate towards it. So that's $199 a month, and that is a 12-month subscription, meaning it expires in 12 months, meaning you have to get your shit going and you have to take accountability and make the time and the effort to build out your business over this 12-month sprint. And we've had members that have asked for an additional, an extension of 6 months, but they've been hustling and working and taking the mentorship. So Gravitate is $199 a month.
And before you go on, I don't want to put you on the spot. You don't have to mention your pricing if you don't want. I just wanted to know why there was variable pricing. I know it's right on your website and people can find it.
Yeah. We have the Grind subscription, which is $299 per month, and that is for business owners that are in the grind. They're trying to build that foundation. They're trying to make it right now. They are, they're grinding. And then our Grow subscription is for business owners that are in the mastering phase of their career. They already have their foundation, and now they're just growing. They could be in business for 5 years, 15 years, 20 years. They're focusing on the growth. And then we have the Gratify subscription, which is $499 a month. And that's for business owners that are in a different stage of their life, professionally, personally, where they can give back and make a difference. And this isn't about sponsorships and donations. This is about mentorship and opening doors that, for other members that would not normally be opened without these X amount of years of relationship and credibility. So the Gravitate subscription is our top tier subscription. And each of these subscriptions are an individual subscription for the person, not for the company. For some of our members that want their business partner to be part of Whoggga, we came up with an add-on subscription called Together, and that's $99 a month. And that is for literally that business partner or that spouse that works in the business with that business owner who's a member, to be together with them, to be able to interact and so forth. And by the way, the reason for all of our costing and everything else is all the huddles that we have throughout the month. So the 15 huddles plus we have, every cost is included. The only thing that we don't include is alcohol, but the experiences, the meals, the this, the that, kayaking, everything we do is included in that monthly membership subscription. So we want to encourage our members to come to whatever they want that they're passionate about. We don't want people to pick and choose because, oh, this is going to cost me $150, or oh, this is going to cost me $30. I don't want to go to this. We want our members to have access to anything and everything to get the most value from our community that they can get.
So because I'm fascinated by pricing, so if I'm, well, first, I guess my first question on that is, who decides? Do you? I'm sorry?
The member decides. We have no say. We'll educate the member. If they ask us our opinion, we'll let them know, or we'll help them kind of figure it out themselves. But the member chooses a subscription. It's 100% integrity.
I love that. So the other part of that is, so like if I'm paying, I forgot what the last one, grind. If I'm paying $4.99 a month, am I getting something more than the person who paid $99 a month?
So that person, we automatically include that together subscription for the Gratify. So Gratify at $4.99. That includes that $99 add-on for them to have a business partner, a spouse, someone that's working in their business. That's automatically included. And then on top of it, they're at a stage in their life, in their career, where they are able to do things to kind of give back in a different way. So it actually helps support the membership subscription costs from the grind. The way that we usually describe it is the gross subscription at $3.99 is our average subscription. And then we discount the grind by $100 a month. And then we make the other side up with the Gratify, those members that are giving back to the community and so forth. Just so you know, Jeff, once we hit 100 members, our existing members are grandfathered into the pricing structure that we have. However, we are going to be simplifying the pricing structure once we hit 100 members. I don't know what that's going to be yet, so I can't disclose that. But we have had a lot of people question the different subscriptions. Why am I paying more or less, this or that? We just want people to understand what stage of their career that they're in, because if you're in the grind and if you're really hustling to try to make it and survive, you can't be gratifying. You can't be doing all this volunteer work and this and that to give back to the community. You can give back in your own way, but you have to have those horse blinders on and be really focused on the grind. So for us, it's more important that our members know what stage of their life and their career they're at, so they can at least be aware and be where their feet are.
Well, clearly it's working, because you've grown very quickly and you've got a group of people who, I know you don't just take anybody, it's not just, I want to join, here's my money. I'm well aware of that. Most people who are networking are looking for an ROI. In fact, they're looking for an ROI, a return on investment and everything. But to you, ROI means something different. What does ROI mean in your organization?
Return on inclusion. By including yourself, by interacting with our members, by going to our huddles, by engaging in our app, by truly building a relationship back with people in our community, that is going to give you the traditional return on investment. When people know you, they get to experience things with you, they get to kayak next to you, they get to, do a food tasting next to you and experience something together and build that relationship and that trust and that rapport. When you include yourself, you see a better return on the investment that you're making.
So it's both a return on inclusion and a return on investment.
Yes, we and we don't have an attendance policy in Whoggga. We don't, our members, they're all adults, they're all business owners. We have a very awesome app that our members can engage on and RSVP for our huddles. They know what's going on. We post everything 3 months in advance to be friendly to their calendar. I just saw 2 huddles posted yesterday for October. So that's 3+ months. So what I'm getting at is we don't have an attendance policy, because come to whatever you're going to, if you need help, you need value, you need support, you're looking for an experience, you're looking to learn something. We really want the community to be a value add to complement your life.
And because I follow you on Facebook and I participated in one of your huddles, I don't think you ever have a huddle where there's 2 people. It's always a big group of people, because everybody looks like they're always having fun. I mean, I saw tacos and karaoke. That looked like a lot of fun.
Listen, some huddles we have 8, some we have 15, some we have 30. Jeff, you actually, I know that you were going to ask me this as a question about our guest policy, because you just mentioned that you came to one of our huddles.
I came to a huddle as a performer.
You came? Oh, yes. Okay. Yes. Okay. Thank you.
So what is your guest policy, though?
So we don't have a guest policy. There is no guest allowed at any of our Whoggga huddles unless they're a spouse, a business partner, or a mentor. And those are very specific huddles that only those people are invited at that, maybe a couple a month. the reason that we have a no guest policy is anyone that we're going to let into our community, they need to go through our full vetting process and everything. And then if we feel like they're a good fit for our community and they're going to be a good fit for us, so we're a good fit for them, they're a good fit for us, we'll have the conversation with them to extend what we call an invitation of credibility for them to join. And if they want to try the community out, once they go through all of our vetting and everything, they can do what we have as a 30-day trial where you are fully in our app, you enter all your information, you're engaging with our community the same way any normal member would. But instead of being charged on day 1, you're charged on day 31 if you choose to continue your subscription. So the trial subscription is for members that have went through our vetting. They earned the same invitation that all of our other members earned, and they're trying it out for the 30 days to make sure it's a good fit for them. We've had trial members on the 4th day say, I want to become a regular member. I don't want to be on the trial. We've had members that have tried it out for 30 days and said, I love this. I know I don't have the time to commit to it right now, but I would love to rejoin again in September. Hey, awesome. Like, there's no hard feelings. We have respectfully had to ask people to leave our community that have not been complimentary to it, that have not been a good fit, or maybe we just weren't a good fit for them. But we're very protective over who we invite in, Jeff, because at the end of the day, the value is coming from the people. It's not just about what they do or their success. It's who they are as a person.
Well, in that case, I'm honored because my memory just kicked in. And I did come to a huddle once at your particular invitation at Frank's Steakhouse.
On your birthday.
Absolutely correct.
That was, when is your birthday? And remind me.
May 3rd.
So that was May 22. We had that huddle. So it was a little over a year ago.
Yep. So I've experienced it. Because you work with business owners, I'm always interested in patterns. Are there any patterns you're seeing among business owners, things that maybe they've been through, things in common?
Unfortunately, this comes up a lot, is accountability. A lot of business owners are so focused working in the business as a technician that they're not building the business as the visionary. If you look at the book, The E-Myth, a lot of foundations for business owners are not, unfortunately, where they need to be. Their technology, their CRMs, their processes, their workflows, their follow-up. I mean, one of my biggest pet peeves is people that are doing a lot of networking and building great relationships, but they don't have a process for following up and for establishing the rapport. And, you go to this event, you have this great conversation for an hour with one person when the event was only 2 hours long, and then you don't have a system to follow up with that person. And 2 weeks go by, 3 weeks goes by. So a common pattern that I'm seeing is just lack of systems and lack of processes. And then also a big struggle I'm seeing is just almost like an identity crisis, almost like they're trying to redefine themselves or to add more value than what they're already adding.
Interesting. You mentioned accountability, and it's funny, as a sales coach, when I first started offering coaching as a service, I thought salespeople were the only people who were going to take me up on that. But I actually work with a lot of business owners, entrepreneurs, especially solopreneurs. And you mentioned the word accountability. One of the things I find is your customers are your best source of business intelligence. And more than once in my career, and certainly when it comes to coaching, I didn't think that the accountability piece was that important to them, but almost to a client, that's what they like the most. They know that I'm going to ask them at the end of our session, what they're going to commit to between now and the next session, and then I hold them accountable to that, and they actually like that. And I find it's invaluable too. As a business owner and a solopreneur, there's nobody holding me accountable. And while I'm a fairly disciplined guy and my word is my bond, I'll break my word to myself. Whereas I'd rather break my arm than break my word to you. I'll break my word to myself because I love me and I'll let me off the hook. So having that accountability, I'm with you 1,000,000%. You also say that in business, authenticity is a superpower. I find quite often in working with salespeople that they tend to put on a business voice or a business persona. Talk a little bit about authenticity and why it's a superpower, please.
Sure. So that's a facade, when you're, it's so funny you say that. It's like, it's actually hard for me to understand, Jeff, to be honest with you, is, it's easy to be yourself. It's, you have to have some filter, you have to have some boundaries with it, but I actually don't know how to answer that question. I appreciate the question. I understand the question, But that authenticity, being who you are, letting people see your true colors, like, listen, you have to have a level of professionalism on, that's being yourself. You can be your best self, but putting on a facade or being someone else to benefit yourself or your pocket or whatever it is, especially, by the way, most people hate what they do, Jeff. Like, a lot of people don't like what they do, and they feel like they have to put that facade on every day, and it's exhausting for X amount of years. So, like, why do that to yourself? Like, it just sounds awful.
And it doesn't work well. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've sat next to a person while they're on the phone cold calling, and they'll hang up, and I'll go, "Where'd that voice come from?" And they're like, they're mystified. They're like, "What are you talking about?" I said, "You and I talking, you don't sound like that. You sound like somebody. You sound like you're putting on a professional voice." And I'm certainly never saying that people should not be professional, but just be you. I'm with you 1,000,000%. People buy people. They really don't buy products or service in most cases. They're buying the person, the relationship, and of course, the value they bring to the table. So if you're trying to be somebody else, you're trying to be more serious than you really are, or more funny than you are, or more anything than you really are, or different than you really are, I think people are going to smell it. And if people are going to do business with you because they trust you, and they do, why would somebody hand you their money and their business unless they trust you? Then how are they going to trust you if you're not being the authentic you? So I'm with you 1,000,000%. Now, I talk to a lot of different types of people every day. You strictly really talk to business owners. What's it like talking to business owners on a daily basis?
It's really fun. It's almost like, it's actually very therapeutic. Selfishly, I absorb a lot of other people's energy, and I love learning from people, adapting and modifying from their experiences, hearing what they're going through. I love helping people, Jeff. Like, it makes me so happy. Like, it literally warms my heart when someone asks me for help with something, because like, I just genuinely want to help them. So talking to business owners, and the fact that I can ask them at the end of our conversation, or I can say, what are you going through? What can I help you with? What support do you need right now? Like, that's my love language. And it's so funny because when people ask me back that same question, I've actually had to come up with, like, not a scripted response, but I've actually had to come back with, let me get back to you on that, because I would love your help with something. And I will ask people for the help with something, but I'm a much better giver than receiver.
I'm with you 1,000,000%. And you saw the smile on my face. That's the smile of recognition. I won't lie. I like getting paid for helping people, but I genuinely love helping people. And when I get off a coaching session and I know I've done a good job, and I can see that the light bulb went off over somebody's head and they've got the accountability they need, or the process or system like you were talking about, and I can feel the gratitude. It fills my heart. I don't want to be hairy-fairy about it, but it really feels good to be able to give. And like you're absolutely right. I find it much harder to ask for help than to give it.
I will say this, though, Jeff. I learned that I only really give my help to people that I feel deserve it. And I know that sounds kind of douchebaggy, but I'm going to say it because I meet a lot of people that I know are not going to change. They're not going to take accountability. They're not going to make any effort. It's going in one ear, out the other. They've had this same fucking conversation with 20, 30, 40 other people. I don't want to waste my time with people that are not going to, that are not going to take this time and really cherish it. And I've given and donated and pro bonoed a lot of my time over the years to people that I wish would have done something with it that didn't. And I will actually ask somebody up front in a conversation. I'll say, Jeff, I'm more than happy to help you with this, but I need you to understand that I'm going to make an effort and I'm going to go 100% to do this to help you. I just want to know that you understand that, because I'm I don't want you to have, I don't want to do something you don't want me to do. And I don't say that to make myself sound better. I want you to understand, like, I'm going to go to bat for you. I've had people say, Adam, you know what? Let's have a secret word or a code word for when the time's right. And I'll tell you when I want you to go to bat for me, because maybe now's not the time. We always want to help and immediately provide that value. But what if that value is not the right time? And your good efforts, I've always said the road to hell is paved with good intentions. Your good intentions of helping someone could actually backfire.
Love that. So, what are, your previous work, at Connections for Hire, and certainly with Whoggga, you're helping people with business development, among other things, but certainly business development is one of the most important. What are some of the tips and tricks that you recommend to help salespeople and business owners with new business development? Because this is the challenge I see with most of the people who come to me, the organizations I work with, as well as the individuals who come for coaching. It's like they're simply not seeing enough new prospects. So what are some tips and tricks that you have?
Sure. So review your existing network, people that you have. Maybe write down the 100 people that you do business with, go down to 50 people that you really enjoy doing business with, go to 25 that you really enjoy doing business with, go to 10. Make a phone call to each of those 10 people, tell them how much you appreciate them, tell them how much you love doing business with them, how much you've learned and appreciate and show gratitude to them, and set up time to collaborate with them. Take them out for coffee, take them out for a walk, go for a walk, go to their favorite park, you go hit golf balls. Show gratitude and appreciation to those 10 people that are your closest centers of influences, people that have built a relationship back with you, because those people are going to continue to show up for you. Look at people in your network, and when you're making that list of 100 people, cross off the liabilities. Someone needs to be an asset or a liability. If they're a liability and for example, Jeff, someone recently asked to take a picture with me at an event I was at. It was not a Whoggga event, it was something different. And someone asked to take a picture with me, and this person is all over social media with pictures, and I don't want to say bad names or anything like that, but I don't want to be associated with this person. And this person said to me, "Oh, Adam, let's get together for a photo." And I said to them, I was like, "You know what? I would rather not." And they're like, "Why not?" And I'm like, "To be honest with you, we don't really know each other that well. And I don't really want to associate with you and your network because I don't know anything about you." I said, "I appreciate it." I said, "Would you like me to take a photo of you and someone else?" And I did that instead. But if I was in that photo with that person, and any of my members of Whoggga saw me with that person, if you saw me with that person, you would associate me with that person, or you might think that, and maybe something bad about this person, and this person is not my cup of tea, so it's a liability. Another tip or trick that I love is I call it the 5 eyes. The first eye is to be interested in someone. When you meet someone and you're naturally interested in them, great conversation. We both love fishing. We both have kids. We both like the Mets. Wow, what an interesting, I'm interested in continuing to get to know you. And then the other 4 eyes are to invite, introduce, inform, and inspire. So when you meet that person that you are interested in, I recommend doing as many of these eyes as you can in the first 30 days. So Jeff, you and I just meet. I'm interested in you. This is a cool relationship. I follow up with you the next morning saying, "Hey Jeff, it was so nice meeting you last night. What a refreshing conversation. You're a badass, cool motherfucker. Awesome. I'm interested in you. Hey Jeff, I'm going to hit some golf balls next week." Or, "Hey, you know what? I'm going to this happy hour get together in Melville. Would you like to come?" So I'm inviting you to something. Ironically, when I invite you to something, I'm probably going to have people around me that I can introduce you to that I know. Now, this is a double-edged sword here in a good way. So I'm inviting you to something. I'm going to be able to introduce you to people. Those people I introduce you to, they're going to actually help me vet you, Jeff, because I just met you. Yes, I'm interested in you, but I know nothing really about you. I just know that we connected. How do I know if you're putting on a facade or not? How do I know if you have commission breath and you're just trying to get into my book of business owners that I have? So I'm going to invite you to something, and I'm going to say, "Hey, Jen, at this event, I'm going to introduce you to this guy named Jeff. Seems like a really nice guy. I'm very interested in building a relationship with him. But to be honest with you, I don't really know him that well, but I would like to get to know him more. Tonight, I'm going to introduce you. Would you mind just giving me a follow-up at the end of the night and just let me know what your thoughts were on him?" And I'll say that to Jen. I'll say that to Anthony. I'll say that to Allison, whatever it is. And I'm introducing you. Now, they already know you because I've told them, not that they know you, but they already know about you in a good way because I was excited to tell them about you. So that's the invite and that's the introduce. By the way, when you're going to introduce people, if you're not inviting them to something and you're going to introduce people like, "Hey, Jeff, I want to introduce you to Mike North. Guy's awesome. You guys are so collaborative. This is why. Let me ask Mike's permission as well before I just put the introduction together. Hey, Mike, this is Jeff. I was talking to him about you. Tell him about your business and just who you help, who you work with, good COIs. Would it be cool if I make the introduction?" Absolutely, Adam. So now Jeff and Mike are expecting introduction. Now, when I make an introduction that's like just tailor-made, and I just know that there's something there's an energy there for business to happen, I'll say, "Hey," I'll put an email introduction together or a text message, and I'll say, "I would love to be there the first time you guys meet. Let me know what you're thinking." or I would love to be part of your first conversation. And I'll literally sit on the conversation just because I'm a comfort factor for both sides. And me being on that call together with them is going to make the odds of that relationship that much more successful. Plus, I can now have in my CRM a follow-up strategy to reach out to Jeff and to Mike and say, hey, what did you think of the meeting? Hey, you guys have another meeting? Whatever the case is, I can just help as a friend. The worst thing to do for an introduction is to hand someone a card or a phone number and say, hey, call this guy. Don't mention my name. Or, hey, call this guy. Make sure you mention my name. Or the best is, hey, you guys should meet. Here's an introduction. And you put like a little introduction together. And then there's no follow-up. There's no strategy. Neither one of them even ever follow up with each other. And you just made the effort to try to help. Road to hell is paved with good intentions. The last two I's are to inform and inspire. So when you can get information to someone, like this information now, the 5 I's in 30 days, that can help someone. And then to inspire, inspiring better follow-up, better business development, inspire people just being fucking happier, Jeff.
I love that. And, you know, the introduction to Michael North is a perfect example. What you just said is exactly what you did. And that turned out to be a great introduction because not only is he a good guy, but I was able to bring him into a client of mine, which helped my client and put some money in Michael's pocket. And, you know, he's just a great resource. He made me look good. And certainly when I get an introduction, and especially when I'm going to bring somebody who I've been introduced to into a client of mine, that has the potential to make me look bad. But because of my trust in you and the way I developed trust with Michael, I was very comfortable. And again, he made me look good by bringing on a great hire for that client. The other thing that you said, which I think cannot be overemphasized, is reaching out. I was having a conversation with the person who runs the networking group I belong to just yesterday because you know, I sell 4 different services, and at various times in my career, I've had an emphasis on one or the other more than the others. And I'm in the process of transitioning from almost 90% emphasis on outsourced sales management to back into training and coaching more. And I was talking to this woman yesterday and saying, you know, I'm not getting the referrals I should be, and I really need them for this and that and the other thing. And she goes, well, when was the last time you reached out to this guy and that guy? And she named a bunch of the people in the group. I'm like, oh, you're right. It's been quite a while. And now here's a guy, I'm a sales coach and trainer. I should know about this, but you know, often you're the carpenter whose house is falling apart. So I'll just give an example of one. I reached out to one of the gentlemen she mentioned yesterday, sent him an email saying, hey, we haven't gotten together for a long time. We should do a lunch or a dinner or breakfast. Let's get together. Like a second later, I'm not exaggerating. A second later, my phone goes ding, and I've got a text from him saying, hey, a client of mine is getting together 6 business owners at his home in a couple of weeks. Would you come in and do a 1-hour talk? Now, it just so happened that my reach out, he hadn't even seen it. We crossed each other, but yeah, exactly what you were doing. The universe works that way. You know, just the fact that I was even talking about it and thinking about it, great stuff can happen. We are, go ahead.
I call that unconventional opportunity. When if you don't have the horse blinders on, just focusing on one thing, but you're open to the opportunity, you never know what it entails. And that reach out and that just reaching out to someone and saying, hey, want to say hello or want to catch up. Josh Kreitzman and I just talked about that the other day. That simple hello, just saying hello, it actually goes somewhere.
Yeah, and I've been so focused on making this transition back into more training and, of course, coaching, as well as, I think you know this, I just developed online training programs, which I'm going to be offering to the public. In fact, I have a webinar, a free webinar coming up Monday, July 10th at 4 o'clock for anybody who's interested. If just email me, Jeff at JG Sales Pro, and I'll send you the registration link. Free webinar, 30 minutes, 3 things that can help you immediately increase your sales. And I'm focused on more training and more coaching and offering these videos to the public. So, you know, it's easy to get sidetracked with all the other things that we're doing when we're focused working in our business as opposed to on our business, reaching out and paying attention to the people around us. I love that. We are almost out of time, and I still have 75 more questions as I usually do. Let's see. If we can do this one real quick. Let's do this. I actually have 5 questions that I'd love to ask you for sure. But you posted recently about the power of remembering people's names. And at the beginning of this conversation, I said, I can't remember the guy's name, but it'll come to me. Why is it so important to remember people's names? And do you have any tricks for that?
When people ask me how I remember people's names, they don't like the answer I give because I tell them, I say, well, when I meet someone, I genuinely give a fuck.
Jake
doesn't mean other people. Oh, Jake, there we go. Doesn't mean other people don't. No, you know what it is? if I don't know someone's name, I'll ask them. I want to remember. I just care. I don't have a tip or a trick. My brain just works very funny. I'm great with faces and names. I've just always been good with it. My business partner, Greg, is terrible with names. It's hilarious. I don't have a better answer for you, Jeff.
Well, one of the things, we actually had a memory expert on here, I think about 6 or 8 months ago. And she said that one of the things that you should do, Jeff, she was telling me, is please stop saying that you have a bad memory, which I do all the time. I always say I have a bad memory. I can't remember people's names. And she said, stop saying that because you're talking yourself into.
It's negative. It's negative self-talk. You're teaching yourself that you have a bad memory. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly right. The truth is I do. I'm sorry to be so honest, but I do. But my excuse is always, you know what? I'm a professional speaker. I sometimes meet 500 people in a day. I know I've met you. Please help me out. It's me, not you. What's your name again? And most people are pretty gracious about that. Let's see. Bruce Caserman says, being a business owner is 24/7. Absolutely right. Although you do need to build in some time to relax and have fun. And John Hill, the trade show coach, says, having been in sales for over 50 years, continue to learn from listening to Adam and you, Jeff. Thank you, Mr. Hill. It's a pleasure to have you here today. If you'll give me 1 second, I'm going to share my screen, and I'd appreciate it, Adam, if you would please tell people if they're interested in speaking with you or possibly finding out about Whoggga, how can they reach you? And remember, some people are going to be listening to this, not seeing it. So if you'd lay out how they can reach you.
Reach out to me on LinkedIn, Adam Holtzer, Holtzer. I'm pretty active on LinkedIn, and feel free to check us out. Follow us anywhere else. Whoggga is WHOGGA.com. Thank you, Jeff.
It's my pleasure, my friend. Any last words of advice for people who want to be better connectors?
Ask the people around you what you can do to help them, or what can make you better for them, because you care so much about that relationship, and show gratitude and appreciation, and just say, what can I do to be a better relationship, a better help for you and your business, because I care so much about our relationship.
Wow. Well, I feel like I'm doing something right, because the question I always ask the people I'm networking with is, what can I do that would help you? I love that. Thank you so much, Adam Holtzer, for sharing your brilliance generously. I appreciate it. And I appreciate you, my friend. You're always reaching out to me and trying to help. And I truly do value our relationship. And I will end as I always do, my friends. Please remember that sales is a game of making things happen. So get out there and make sales happen. Have a great weekend, everybody. Thanks, Adam.